Welcome to the great. Welcome to the gray area. The Gray Area Media. We've obligated ourselves to be the voice for all communities, speaking on topics that include community, religion, education, politics, technology, sports, health, and wellness. The Gray Area Media is a platform created by longtime friends for the sole purpose of providing our communities with the ability to voice current, past, and modern-day issues. The Gray Area, in its naming significance, solely speaks to the area in which people shy away from speaking because of media-based constraints or contractual-based obligations. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't do that here. So please, stay tuned in. We're going to go live in a few minutes. Don't forget, please add us as a friend on Facebook so that you can follow our live feed. And not only that, please add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you. Welcome to the Gray Area.
Hello, viewers. We are live. This is Facebook Live with the Gray Area, and we are here today with some very special guests. It's your boy Ray E.
This is your boy P. Wills. What's happening?
And we have Kirsten Seacrest here.
Hey.
Whitney Fagan. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. We are talking about some very important things. One thing that we run into a lot is people just don't understand when it comes to applying for jobs or going to get a job. They don't understand what to do. You know, oftentimes people want to go to work, want to get a decent job, want to make a decent pay, want to negotiate pay or whatnot, but they just don't know how to do it. You guys do something very, very interesting and special because you guys are in HR, human resources. You're a HR specialist.
Correct.
And we'll go over what you specifically do, and then you're an HR analyst.
Yeah.
Okay, and I see you posting jobs all day long. If people out here saying there ain't no jobs, they lying.
I get about 400 to 500 jobs a week.
400 to 500 jobs a week.
That I post. Everybody's like, you post all the jobs.
Yeah,
Post
yeah.
them all day.
Wow.
What type of jobs do you post on, though?
Felon friendly and non-felon friendly jobs. So
All kinds of jobs.
customer service, hospitality, all types of jobs. Anything
Nice.
that just comes. I'm in a pool with some different HR people. So they're like, oh, you know anybody? So it's about 32 recruiters that report to about 3 different ladies, and we're in a pool together. So they share jobs back and forth.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
There's so many different jobs out there. I don't want nobody saying they can't find no job. It's scarce out here.
I know, right?
Now these jobs pay. What range are they paying in?
It's anywhere from like $9 to just 20. I posted some jobs today that were paying like $20, $21.
Wow.
A lot of them are permanent jobs. There's a lot of staffing agencies. My page is public on purpose, so people can't say they can't see me.
Right.
At one point I was getting like 30, 40 friend requests a day.
Yeah.
So I just made them public so people can look. People share them. It's a lot of shares. It's probably like 40, average like 40 shares on each post that I make. Just so that everybody can see it because it's all types of jobs, different types of jobs.
Wow.
Can me pull you up to the mic a little bit closer? The viewers are having a hard time hearing you, so let me turn your mic up a little bit.
How many responses do you typically get, like, just based on, like, per job that you post?
A lot of people message me and may say, can you tell me how to apply? General stuff. It just says, do you need a resume? But I always say, this is a felon-friendly job because a lot of people ask you, hey, can you help me? Or my boyfriend might have a felony, or my husband might have a felony. So I post those too, expecting people to jump on them. So somebody wrote me today and said they actually found a job.
Yeah, mute the volume. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities. It's just in different fields.
Okay. Kirsten, you're an HR specialist.
Yes.
Can you tell the viewers exactly what you do?
So my role is kind of a hybrid role. So I'm like a specialist slash generalist slash HR business partner. So I'm responsible for pretty much working with about 40 salaried leaders to kind of manage the employee life cycle with my employer, which is Lowe's here locally at a contact center.
Okay.
So day to day, I do everything: employee relations, conflict resolution, counseling, you name
Right.
it, I do it. But in addition to that, just kind of make sure that everything with the center flows.
Okay.
I'm not really heavily into recruiting anymore. I was when I was with community. I did that then. But now I'm more so or less just kind of all of your basic HR functions minus payroll. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
And as a HR analyst, what is it that you do specifically? You touched on a little bit of it, but just briefly.
I do a lot of stuff with like turnover, day to day. I do more. I don't do as much recruiting as I used to do, but I do some recruiting, payroll, terminations, onboarding, just about
Right.
pretty much everything.
Oh, we definitely need to talk to you. You did with terminations. We got to find out why
Terminations.
all these people getting terminated.
A lot of onboarding stuff and leaves and things like that.
Yeah.
The day to day.
Okay.
More, a little bit of everything. It's me
Right.
and one other person. We have about 500 so employees. We're here in Indianapolis. We're in New York, New Jersey,
okay.
everywhere. But it's I work for an IT company. So basically, we hire a lot of engineers. If you don't have an IT presence, you can hire our company and like source them, and we'll come and be the presence. We're like in a lot of colleges. and
Okay.
schools.
Cool. That's awesome. How important is job preparation? Because obviously there's a lot of people who want to work, and like we said earlier, a lot of people just don't know how to approach this information. You post a job or you see a job, you go out there and apply for it. You get the job, and then you come to the interview with gym shoes and a t-shirt on. So let's talk about job preparation a little bit.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that people should be aware of and should do, when trying to prepare for getting a job? And let's start all the way from, building the resume up to making sure that aligns with, what you're trying to apply for and all that. So, Kirsten, we'll start with you.
The resume basically is like your entryway or your key basically into the organization. So it should be together. It should be polished.
Okay.
The basics of it are, it should have consistent fonts, accurate wording, proper spelling. I tell people all the time, like your email address, for example, you'd be surprised at like how many resumes you see where like the email address is crazy. Like, you can get a basic Kirsten Seacrest at whatever.com.
Right.
But some of the stuff that you see, some people unfortunately do look at stuff like that and
Right.
count people out. So
Yeah.
it starts there. I don't know, like the resume is big for me, and then you are your own brand. So when you walk in the door, like what you look like, unfortunately, speaks volumes to
Yeah.
people. You shouldn't really count a person out based off of how they dress, but at the same time, you kind of do almost count a person out by the way they dress.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's all a form of marketing.
Yeah. You are the marketing. You're a walking marketing,
Right.
for yourself to get a job. So the first appearance is everything.
Question though, on that. So you go over resumes, right?
Yep.
Would you prefer, or is it like standard for a person's resume to be one page, or does that matter? Because I've heard that, hey, a person should try to condense their their resume into one page. So is there like truth to that, or is that?
I think it depends on the job, for example. So
Okay.
in my environment, in the customer service environment, I don't necessarily expect one of my customer service agents to have a 2-page resume.
Okay.
A lot of times you'll see them, they're pretty much last job history within like the last 5 years or so, and they put like relevant job experience, so that'll get you on one page. Leadership jobs, a lot of times you see more of that experience because you could be,
Okay.
maybe you've been a director or, in some type of operations management for a couple of years, maybe 5 to 10, and you've got a nice body of experience.
Okay.
I joke around and tell people all the time, the way my ADD is set up, like I really only have time for a 1-page resume because
Okay.
like I'm looking for certain things,
Okay.
and once I see it, I'm moving on. So
Like,
I don't
right.
really have time to keep
Yeah.
thumbing through and looking for
Right.
a lot of content.
Well, so what are the certain things that you look for?
So I want to make sure that depending on what the job is, so like if it's a customer service job in
Okay.
our call center, you would want to make sure like that you meet the minimum qualifications. So like you would need to be like a high school diploma or like to have a GED. Then we want to see that you've had some contact center or call center experience. Not to say that we'll count
Okay.
you out if you don't,
Okay.
but we want to know that you've had like some customer service background. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at things that kind of relate to the job and make it a little bit more job specific. So that's the stuff that I'm looking for. Like I'm just
Okay.
basically scanning for content because if you don't have the minimum qualifications, then normally we
It's
would
hard to
kind of
put
put
you
you to
on.
the side and then go
Right.
to somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
And
sense.
quick question, and I'll let you answer the same question as far as job preparation goes. I see a lot that, some people don't have the experience that they're applying for, for what they're applying for.
Right.
Generally, people's, their hearts are big and they want to jump out there and get a change of environment and they really want to work for something. Is it important for them to go get educated in that specifically, or how do they
question.
need to cater their resume to the job that they're applying for if they don't have any experience?
It's kind of hard. I mean, I'll tell you, like when I got into HR, I got into HR only because somebody took a chance on me because I didn't have the experience.
Right.
So I took career-wise, like what I felt you would need for a typical HR person and kind of put it together for myself. And then I made sure my resume lined up with what it was that they were looking for to get in the door.
Yeah.
And then when I got in the door, that was my opportunity to sell myself to say, hey, I don't have, X amount of years in this, but I do have this. And this
Right.
is how much I was able to learn in that amount of time. So that's how I was able to kind of get to where I am, so to speak.
Right.
So it's really it depends on who you get. Like some people just want to help people, and so they're willing to take a chance on a person, and that doesn't matter. Other people want to go by the book, and they want the education.
Right.
They want to know that you've had 5 years of experience and this, that, and the other. It just really kind of depends.
Okay. Are you involved in the whole interview process? Like, you bring a person in and, sit and just like sit down with them?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I used to, but I'm not
Okay.
heavily involved in that now, no.
Okay, because a question that I have, let's say if a person is coming in for an interview, right? Is it beneficial for that person to know like the company's like history or certain things that are going on in the news with that company? I mean, does that help?
I think so.
Yeah.
When I interviewed for the position I'm in now, they asked me, "Do you have any questions?" So I was prepped actually by my old manager because she knew I was, venturing off and looking. She was like, "It's important for you to know. You don't want to go interview for a company and you not know anything the company's about."
Right,
So,
right.
say I'm going to,
That's valid.
I go to, I don't know. Say I'm going somewhere. That's,
Apple or something?
I'm going to Apple and I'm like, oh well. I don't like Apple products. Well, that's what we do here. We manufacture
Right.
Apple
Yeah,
products.
yeah.
So it's
Right.
like you kind of want to know
Uh-huh.
the company that you're going to, what the company's about, what the company does, because I did research a lot about the company that I'm at.
Right.
I went from working at a collection agency with student loans to hiring engineers and
Right.
help desk people for, So I did some research and then I asked questions, which that when people ask me questions like in the interview process, I'm like, oh, okay, they do research, they
Right.
care. I'm not
Right.
expecting for you to front and back me
Right.
the handbook and
Yeah.
oh, this company was built in 19,
Right,
you
right.
know,
Gotcha.
but something.
Yeah, just
Give
something.
me
Right,
the effort,
right.
basically, that you've actually.
You're willing to hire someone who's willing to sit down and research the company as opposed to somebody who knows nothing about the. And it only makes sense if you're going to work for this company. You want to know a little bit about what they do, right? I mean,
Makes sense, yeah.
you may just be walking into this situation where you don't even know what's happening, but you seen that job pay or you seen the job skill set, and you not necessarily know what the company does, which is why some people end up getting hired and then hating the job, right?
Yeah, because they didn't really know where they were going. The company I used to work at, we did an assessment test, so you were tested. Just various questions, call center questions, and different types of screens and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then after that, if you passed the test, before we even interviewed, we were like, "We're offering you a job. This is the pay," and people would be excited. They would see the little $14.50 an hour. Well, what do y'all do here?
Oh
After
man.
I've already hired you,
Right.
and then I don't want to be on the phone,
Yeah.
or I don't want to work with a bunch of different people. I want to just be by myself. But
Wow.
it's like after the fact they ask. So you kind of want to know what you're applying for. And The company that I work for now, it's more so harder to get a invitation to actually come in and interview, because if you don't meet the qualifications, if
Right.
you don't have the education or the equivalent, to what they're requiring. So if you don't have the 4-year degree, but at least you have 5 or 6 years experience,
Right.
we won't call you. But I know different companies do different things, so it's
I'm
Yeah.
big on company culture. Like, I
Okay.
don't want to. I've worked in environments like where you just show up, like you said, just because the money is good.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you get burnt out because you're working, and granted, you're getting your paycheck, but you're not necessarily happy with your environment.
Yeah.
So my big thing now, like when I research an organization, is I try to research their culture, which can be done now a lot. Like YouTube has brought a lot of good to the
Exactly.
employment sector, because like you can go out and pretty much look for a company, and there are a lot of videos on like company employee culture, like on YouTube, and it gives you a chance to kind of see what they're about, what they do. So like I'm really big on like community service and being able to give back to the community. When I went to my employer currently, for example, Lowe's is big on that. So like when I got there last year, they had the big campaign on Good Morning America where they did the Women Build with Habitat for Humanity. They've let us partner with #LunchBagIndy to do community service projects at work. We get 8 hours, of give back time to take a day off work and go serve. So stuff like that was important to me.
Wow.
So
I'd
that's
never-
why I
I'd
like
never-
doing my homework when it came down to that, because I just don't want to be in an environment anymore where I can't be myself or be happy doing the things I like to do and work.
Yeah, yeah, and that's extremely important. I mean, you have to be passionate, and like like you said, just more, just just happy where you are. That's important.
Yeah, the Glassdoor. If you guys are familiar with Glassdoor, Glassdoor is an awesome app. Viewers, if you don't have Glassdoor.com, go download it. It gives you salary information. It gives you reviews on the company, the employees that work there, that actually work there, give the reviews. You can, it just lets you in your area. It lets you find out what companies are best for you. They give updates every day in the email on the jobs that are available. If somebody ever said to me there are no jobs available, I know they lying. Because there are so many jobs out here. Now, it may not be what you want, but you're obligated to go out and get the experience there and get the education that's necessary to get those jobs. Now, like you said, you went into it, but your presence, your marketing, your skills got you the job, and it was something that you hadn't done before, but that first presentation is everything. So, you may have gotten that based on, just selling yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if you guys had that experience where somebody didn't necessarily have the qualifications, but you like their presence, you like their spirit, you liked what they're about, and they're genuine. So tell us about, outside of not having the experience, what kind of things can sell you into those positions?
meaning you're asking.
Yeah.
basically,
Somebody
why
who
would I
has
hire
who's
somebody?
better at talking specifically, or maybe have a better presence about themselves, but not necessarily the experience. Do you kind of accept that job role if they don't have the qualifications? Because some people are just great with people, but they've never gotten the education or the experience.
I think it kind of depends on the industry.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really just
Entry level or
Yeah.
okay, I
like
got you.
whether or not it's an entry level or like a leadership job, or whether it's like with my company, it's a little bit easier to take somebody who doesn't have maybe a college degree, even in a leadership role. Maybe they've led other people, but maybe not 20 or 30 people. Maybe they've only led 4 or 5 people. It might be easy to kind of do it that way. Sometimes it's just the person. Like when you sit down, if you have a really good interviewer and a person that's able to kind of see the person, it'll kind of tell you whether or not that
makes sense.
person can come in and do the job that you want done. And if you listen to, it's like anything. If you listen to people long enough, they'll tell you what you want to know. I've been in interviews before, and you kind of mentioned it too, where it's a customer service job, which means you're going to be on the phone. And a person will say to me, well, I'm coming in, and I want to work here, but I don't really like people.
Or I don't want to
Yeah,
be on. I don't want to be on the phone.
Yeah, that is
Like,
Wow.
You don't like people, but you want to come and work here. And if
Right.
you work in a store, you're going to be around people. It's face to face. If you're in the contact center, you're on the phone, they're never going to see you, but you don't like people.
talk to
so,
them on the phone.
Right.
Right. How does that work? So.
Right. Wow. I can believe that. I was gonna say I can't believe that, but I can believe that because there's just a lot of people out there that don't know. So they go in thinking, she black, she cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's cool. They start talking
yeah.
the slang, and you know they forget
Give that a
that.
lot.
What's up, girl?
This is-
What's up with you, girl?
Yeah, they
Chilling.
forget that this is still an interview.
Girl,
You
I
want to be
remember
your
you from high school. How you doing? I'm
Oh,
good. How
yeah.
you doing, bud? Like,
right,
yeah.
right. You know,
Yeah.
stay, keep your
But-
composure.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You still trying to win this
Keep it
job,
pro-
so
yeah. Keep it professional,
you know,
yeah.
not that you can't know the person, but go in as professional.
Yeah, I tell people that every day, even when you actually are hired, every day is still an interview. So don't
Right.
start
That's a good
and
point.
then start.
Definitely.
You start. I used to hire people, and they would start working, and everything would be fine. And then maybe a week or two later, coming to work late or
Different
Yeah.
representative.
dressed down. I mean,
Oh man,
and you never really know. Like I said, every day's an interview. You never know who's gonna,
right.
be trying to put you in the next position.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't read the company manual that says that you have to dress a certain way.
yeah, and even necessarily dressed in a certain way, I still tell people you always want to,
Be your
Look,
best.
Yeah.
be your best always.
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
sick and all.
And stay away from gossip. What is up with gossip in the workplace?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, please. touch on
Jesus
that.
Christ. It's
Golly.
like Facebook up in there.
Yeah, it is. Well, not where I'm at now, but I can say where I used to be. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Social
Drama,
media
social media, and
Yeah.
who's dating who, and
Yeah. Facebook Live it's good, but it can kill a situation too. Because
Yeah.
we've had people at work going live on Facebook, and I'm like,
don't be
At work,
at
on
work.
the clock.
Oh,
Okay.
don't be
no.
Facebook friends with your coworkers.
don't do that.
Never.
Yeah,
Not
hear
your
that?
managers.
Never.
You hear that?
Even if you go out to lunch with them, that's not your
Do
friend.
not be Facebook
Do
friends
not-
with your
do not-
coworkers.
Do
Period.
not be Facebook
Yeah.
friends with your coworkers. Like it's a big deal.
It is.
Like
as
how
soon
many
as the-
times have you heard somebody say, "Well, such and such is on FMLA today," but I saw them at Kings Island.
Right.
They on Facebook
Oh,
Live.
man.
Like,
Oh, she didn't have a death in the family. She's at the beauty shop
Wow.
or
Yeah.
something like
Crazy,
people.
yeah.
People do crazy stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's crazy.
Right.
And
Especially with the post office. I got a cousin. She's always going live. Talking about, hey, I'm over. I'm like, didn't you just call off tonight?
and then you have your work information. Like you work
Mm-hmm.
at this place and it's on your page.
PHI,
People do-
PII.
People do that. Like I might put on mine. I work at Core BTS. I work at this
Mm-hmm.
company, but it's somebody that's gonna post. They work at Eskenazi, but they're going live on Facebook smoking a blunt.
Oh,
I can't
man,
take you
crazy.
serious. And then
Yeah.
you're my Facebook friend, and then it gets back to work, and then you're like, well, how did I know that? How'd you know that?
Right.
We're Facebook friends, but not. You're gonna assume the person I work with was the one that
Right.
came back and said something. So
Right.
a lot of people just do, to me, a lot of unnecessary stuff
Right,
on Facebook.
right.
yeah.
Like me, anything I post on Facebook, I wouldn't be ashamed of my boss seeing.
It-
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So I always think of that, like, before I make this post, would I be ashamed if my boss seen it?
Absolutely.
Or if I make this post, will my mama be mad?
People lose jobs every day over
Facebook.
saying
Yeah.
crazy stuff, especially during the election.
Oh,
I
my
mean, so many people lost their jobs. It's going crazy. Talking about the presidents and the president's kids, and I mean, just going off.
Don't
I mean, it's okay to disagree with the notion of somebody, but don't be so disrespectful that you did hate the human life. You know what I'm saying, of that person, and you start like talking about the kids and calling them monkeys and all kind of stuff. And now it's something else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if you work in government service. You know what I'm saying?
And people
It
don't
travels
realize,
quick.
like, you put something up and then you try to take it down. Somebody somewhere
Screenshot
has
it.
seen it.
And
And
screenshot it.
screenshot it
the devil.
quick.
Like,
Oh,
I tell
man.
people,
it'll get you caught up.
Yeah.
like when it was the election going on, it was every time you're in the break room, you heard, like I said, this is my previous employer, something about Trump or something about somebody else. And I always tell people, do not discuss politics at work.
Right.
Because it always takes
Yeah,
it
you're right.
somewhere that it doesn't need to be. And
Right.
Oh,
just
man.
because I have my opinion doesn't mean that her opinion is going to be the same.
Absolutely.
So I tell people all the time, don't discuss it because
Yeah.
it's just nothing but a never-ending conversation. It gets
And people
heated.
argue and
People
oh,
they
God.
start arguing and
Take
then
it
it's
to
just-
heart.
and then they take it personal and then they want to think in the back of their mind, well, she racist or it's just
Yeah.
something that it doesn't need to be.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's just my opinion. I don't think
No,
that
that's
discussing politics at work is never a win.
Right.
It's never an ending conversation. It's gonna go on and on. Everybody's gonna go back and forth.
Right, right.
You're right, and I think I'm having my reasons why I'm right, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just not.
You got to watch for those people that like to walk up to you. So, what do you think about Trump?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
You know what I'm
What do you
saying?
think
They
about
trying to
it?
walk. They trying to baby
Exactly.
walk
You
you
know
into. They trying to baby walk you into what they feel about it.
Yeah.
By the end of it, you like, I don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had to kind of like we had meetings or whatever where we would say, we got to make sure that people don't, get too politically charged at work or whatever.
Yeah.
And we never really had to go to anybody. Well, actually, we kind of did. We had a situation where, like with the whole Black Lives Matter, Police Lives Matter thing, and we have these whiteboards in our facility, and you had a couple of people put up what they wanted to put up.
Right.
So somebody else got mad and put up what they wanted to put up, and we kind of had to police that. A little bit, because it was offensive. We have some employees that have spouses, that work for IMPD and a couple of other organizations. So,
Right. I can see where that can become offensive. I mean,
Yeah,
and that's a
very
big deal,
sensitive, yeah.
especially in the workplace. You just got to be careful all around, because you're not only affecting your job, you're affecting other people, and while it may be okay for you, it may not be okay for other people. And that changes but see the companies, when they have a great culture, it helps suffice that. And it helps when the leaders of the company are saying this stuff as well.
Yep.
Like we don't
Enforced it,
believe
too.
in this and we don't do this and make sure. But if it's just coming from the managers, you're going to always have a problem.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't come from the top down. If it comes from the top and then comes down, then people will take better hold of that.
Right.
But even people like Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg was having issues, and regardless of what he was saying, they was still acting up. So the workplace environment is just stay away from it. Stay away from the drama and the political stuff and religion. People can get real antsy about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I want to go to the viewers really quick. Thank y'all for tuning in. Tanya Jackson has a question. She says, how does one re-enter the job force? That's kind of like a broad question. But let's say if I'm an ex-felon, or something like it, how would I re-enter into the job force?
The first thing I tell people is you want to make sure that you have a resume. And everything is on there is accurate. I know people who've stopped working for numerous reasons. So they had a baby, they had kids, and they decided to stay home for 3 or 4 years because they didn't want to pay daycare for 2 kids at the same time. So I'm going to be the stay-at-home mom. You're going to go to work.
Right.
So when I see your resume, I say, why haven't you worked since 2008? That's 8 years ago, or 9 years ago.
Wow.
And they say, I just didn't work. Or some people say, I was a stay-at-home mom between this time. Or I look at the resume and I say, oh, she's been in school. She just graduated in January with her bachelor's in criminal justice. So then I'm like, did you focus on school the whole time, full time? And they'll say, well, yeah, I've been going to school. So it's more so prepping yourself for that. You need to be able to explain all the gaps in employment.
Right.
From it being a year to 2 years to 3 years. If you're entering and you're coming back from doing a prison term, of course I'm going to say, well, what did you do any type of work or any type of education or schooling while you were away?
Right.
A lot of people get a lot of certifications and education
while they're locked up. Yeah.
I've asked those questions.
Can those be applied? Like when you've been locked up and you got a 4-year degree and certificates?
We have not in Indianapolis, but we've hired for positions in different states, and we've hired people who have Cisco certifications and all types of different certifications, and they've actually had degrees from like accredited colleges. I believe the prison in Michigan City, I want to say, they give you can get a Ball State degree.
Yeah.
In Michigan City, and it's a degree. It comes in an actual form. Your education's paid for. So.
But with that though, let's say if a prisoner if they go in and they get a degree from Ball State, can they use that and work in like an office environment, or are most ex-felons given like labor jobs?
No, it just depends on the felon. Like when you remember you just said I post all the jobs all day. Different companies do different things. So some people ask me, well, my husband was arrested he just did a year or 2 for battery or something. A lot of companies won't hire you a violent criminal.
Right.
Yeah.
Or certain, like when I used to work at a collection agency and I was doing HR for them, I couldn't hire anybody with any type of fraudulent fraud robbery, theft, because you're dealing with people's bank information,
Right.
things like that. So you really want to make sure before you waste their time and your own time, make sure that the company that you're actually going to is going to be able to work with you in that
Right.
that offense. Because I posted a job yesterday, I believe, and it said a C felony or less. After
Okay, so yeah, because some jobs don't put any of that. So I mean, that's great that you do that.
Yeah.
But because you let them know, like at the minimum, it's this. You know, if you got a class A, class
apply.
right. You know what I'm saying? It's different. So at the minimum, a lot of the jobs you post, are they just the minimum class C's?
No, there are all types of jobs. Some of the jobs don't really care. Like I posted up one earlier, I believe it's for a company called Cintas. So it's like the rugs. You move in the rugs and the uniforms, the business uniforms like Taco Bell or things like that. The rugs that you see when you walk into a restaurant.
Right.
They don't have a requirement. They take all types of felons. I mean, what are you going to steal the rugs? I
Right.
mean,
Right,
not
yeah.
trying to, I'm just saying, like,
Right,
they're
right,
not
for
really,
sure.
they don't care.
Yeah.
Then there's different places. I mean, if you're just dealing with, like, I think I posted a job about some food service company. They didn't care about I don't think they didn't want any violent criminals, but everything else was okay.
Okay.
So you just more so you ask. If you know that you have a background, just ask and just be upfront. Never lie and say, well, it's 7 years old, so I didn't say anything. I've went through backgrounds with people, interviews, and I'll say, okay, I'll call you with your start date once I get your background back. They never say, well, I had a misdemeanor for theft back in 2000.
Right.
Even though you think it's not going to show up, it's going to always show
Right.
up.
And let's just say they do tell you, and you run the background check and it is verified. Because they were honest with you, do you still hire them?
Some companies won't allow you, but some companies will. Like I was posting, I think about Aerotech earlier. It's a staffing agency. It's one in Greenwood. It's one by the Fashion Mall. They're case by case, so it really just depends on what you did.
Okay.
Some people, I know, I've seen a court document from someone that told me they got a possession charge because they were riding in the car with somebody that had marijuana. His brother had it. He didn't have it, but he was in the car.
Right.
So he got the exact same charge.
Oh man.
My boss was like, we can hire him. We're gonna hire him, but it's case by case. I mean,
Right,
if you're
right.
back to back, if you just keep getting in trouble for the same stuff.
Right.
Or,
So let's go back to what he was, your boss hiring this person. Did he ask him all that? Do you give him a chance to tell all that? Because I mean, generally people don't even like to go into how they got to that point.
I've had people before y'all run my background. I got a misdemeanor for possession, but my brother, he had something, and I was in the car with him. So some people like to explain before you even see it, and that I appreciate that more than anything because I'm like, well, dang, she was honest. She told me.
Right.
She didn't have to tell me.
Right.
She could wait for the background to come back. Some people openly just don't say anything. They want you to see the background.
Right.
And then I see the background, but then you didn't check on the application that you had a felony.
So you
then
have to
it's like,
decline that.
I decline you because you
Because you
didn't.
weren't honest.
You lied on
Right.
the application and then you didn't tell me. So
Integrity is key.
yeah. So if I
Absolutely.
can't, and you never know. I mean, we've hired people with misdemeanors for DUIs. A DUI. I mean, everybody has a drink. Not saying it's okay. We just a lot of criminal crimes that they won't hire for is like moral turpitude. So like theft,
Right.
prostitution,
Right.
things like that. And people are like, well, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, I've had that question
yeah.
asked a lot. What does that have to do with anything?
Right.
So if you were prostituting, I'm like, it's just something they don't want to go for.
Right.
A violent crime. You could have had a battery. I had an interview with somebody who had a battery on their brother. Her and her brother got in a fight. And somebody called the police, and she got a battery charge.
Wow.
And they don't. Oh, we talk now. I mean, but it's still there.
Right.
We don't know if I'm gonna make you mad, and you might, or your coworker might make you
Right.
mad, and you might attack her. Then it's like, okay.
We kind of already knew that.
kinda
You already knew that, right?
Yeah.
Right. And if it becomes a big news story, then your company is the scope of an investigation that enabled this behavior. So I see why companies are on edge about that.
And so, and it's a lot, and a lot of times, how was it taught to me at my previous job? The biggest thing is it's a liability
Right.
as far as like insurance. Like our brokers, they're not here; they're in New York. but they'll tell us like, do not hire anybody with this type
Right.
of background, and it's not any type of discrimination. I mean, it's in the handbook. Like, we don't hire people with this amount of this type
Right.
of background. So it is something that, it's a liability. I can't hire you with a battery.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hire you with I've hired people with gun charges, but it was just with carrying out a license.
Right.
So just different stuff. I mean, everybody's case by case, but like I said, that's when I post those jobs. I do say, this is a case by case. This company doesn't hires case by case. So
Right.
your possession might have been different than me actually possessing. I was possessing with an intent to sell. She might have just been riding with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but for the most part, we try to take people's word. So if you tell me this is what happened,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes, I've had a boss that will go the extra mile. She will get the police the record. And
Wow.
then review and,
Read up on it to make sure
it
the lines.
Are you on
Right.
probation?
Right.
Or anything like that. And some people will tell you they're on probation. Other people don't really want to feel like it's your business, but you can't have any active open cases. So basically, like, if you went to jail and you got out and you got another job and then I hired you, if you're on probation, I can't hire you because, say, you're working, you're on probation, and you're doing really good for the company, but you go and you take a drop and you fail, I'm taking you back to jail. And then it's you're a felon.
Right.
Or something like that. So we just can't have you with any type of open cases. I mean, it's just a lot of different stuff.
Right. I mean, and to be fair, there's a lot of people out there that make mistakes when they were younger or whatnot, and I feel really bad for those people who have walked the straight and narrow, for years and years, and so how do you guys do that? Or if somebody says, 20 years ago I did this, or 15 years ago, like does it matter?
To me, I mean, everybody changes, but a lot of people, like I said, it's still the risk.
A lot of
They
companies
think after
want-
it's 10 years old, it doesn't matter. We had a lady that she passed her background with us, but then we did the yearly background, and it came back that she had a case for grand larceny
Oh,
from
boy.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
But she was like one of the company's top performers,
Mm.
making the company a lot of money.
Wow.
And then she said, well, you guys are just now saying something I'm being discriminated against. Well, we're technically firing you too because you never
Right.
disclosed that you had
Wow.
a felony.
So she had been
or-
working for this company for some time.
for
and
like
then
about 3 or 4 years, but we
Yeah.
had never done the extent to those backgrounds. So then when we did it, she said she didn't feel like she had to say because of, the time, how long ago it was. But our compliance department and everybody was like, she can't stay because you never know. I mean, people change.
Right.
I get that, but it's not
a lot of
it's not always
companies don't
about
want to
that.
deal with the risk of that happening.
Again.
And then there's, you got to look at the HR department, and then you got to reorganize. There's a lot to go into accepting someone who has done that. That's for sure. That's why I said I feel sorry for people who have been walking on the straight and narrow and have just been doing a really good job in life. And because of that one mistake a long time ago, it just affects their ability to progress and grow. And we have a couple of segments that we've done where we talked about that, where, for me, if you got anything on your record, you might as well go start your own business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think you can't discriminate against yourself. You know what I'm saying? And even if you've made a mistake later on, early on, the only way to get around somebody playing with your money is to go start your own business. That's just my
Yeah.
suggestion. But there
Yeah.
are things that you can do if you have not a
I've had
crazy
people tell
felony.
me the whole record expungement situation has
Yeah.
been a good thing for people too. Cause
Was it like
depending
after 7
on-
years?
After like 7
Depending
years,
on-
You
I
can
believe
expunge?
it is, depending on what it was.
I write them. I have a flyer on my Facebook.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
write expungement letters.
Oh, wow.
So it really depends on the court. So some people, if you look on my Facebook page, you'll see it.
Okay. What's your
Expungement
Facebook page for the viewers who don't know?
It's Whitney Michelle Fagan. I'll share it I'll share it.
Okay.
But basically, if you have it just depends on the courtroom. I did one for someone once, and they were in courtroom 20, which was a drug court.
Okay.
And they did, I want to say, like 3 or 4 years. And it was about 10 years ago. The judge allowed them to have it, expunged.
Right.
But I mean, some things they don't seem as unforgivable. So like if you're a sex offender, they're never gonna. And I had a
Right.
person who was a sex offender brought me the 10-page report and attorney notes and everything. They were dating somebody, and the girl lied about her age. Her parents called the police. Now he's a registered sex offender.
Right.
So I mean, it's
Bad situation.
the craziest stuff. So yeah, you want to go start
Wow.
a new position. Nobody maybe will want to hire a sex
Right.
offender. Not saying that that's true, but I do. When people say, "Oh, I can't get a job because I'm a felon," that's not always the case. Because I know a lot of staffing agencies, because I'm actually personally friends with some of the recruiters, they will hire you, and then after you put your time in, you can be placed as a direct hire where you're permanently hired through the company. So I really don't feel like that's an excuse when
Right.
people say, I can't get a job because I'm a felon.
Right.
It's jobs for
It's
everybody.
jobs everywhere.
That's
There's
why
jobs
when I
everywhere.
post them and I say they're felon friendly, everybody's like, dang, that's a felon friendly job.
Right.
That's a felon.
Yeah, you'll be
Like,
surprised.
the,
Yeah.
the Hilton hotels, a lot of the Hilton hotels, they hire felons.
Right.
And they'll hire you as a felon. It's a company called, I want to say it's called Conduent.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a customer service job, I know a lot of females have felonies.
Mm-hmm.
They hire felons.
Right.
They have to be, I want to say, like 3 or 4 years old, but they'll hire you if you have a felon.
What's the highest?
felony.
What's the highest you've seen somebody get that has a felony that get paid? Like what?
Like I've seen them in the 20s. I've seen a job because there's a company. I can pull it up on my phone. There's a company that I actually posted today, and they're paying like $20.63 or something like that right now for the actual for basically like it was like a picker packer forklift, but the company will train you for
Amazon or
No, it wasn't Amazon.
Okay.
The company will train you, and then after you're trained, basically you're gonna have your certification for forklift that you can take anywhere with you. But then it's also going to allow you to, make the maximum. I want to say the company as a whole pays a max. I actually shared it earlier. I also shared some posts about free or discounted forklift training in Indianapolis, in like Plainfield and different things like that. So that's a good trade to have. A lot of people need a forklift driver. Let me see.
That's awesome. And while she's looking that up, one of our viewers said something about credit.
yeah.
Is there cases where companies will hire you, and once you apply, they run your credit to make sure that
It depends.
what's
on
the, and tell
what the
people, tell the
industry
viewers
is.
why
What
they do that.
percentage- But like, what percentage of our companies, will run credit? I mean, do you
I
think?
don't really know the percentage, but a lot of it really depends on the industry. Like naturally, if you're going to go into something where you have to have a financial responsibility, like if you're going to go into a banking industry or something like that, they want to see that you're credit worthy.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is it's on the application. It tells you it's that blurb that it's possible that they may or may not run, your credit or whatever, but definitely, working in the financial industry, like if you're trying to go and be a broker or if you're trying to work at a bank or something like that,
Right.
the likelihood of that happening is going to be pretty high. And it's just, like she was saying earlier, the integrity part of it and to test, your credit worthiness to see, if you should get that job. It's unfortunate. Because unfortunately, like even with the felonies, you think about credit. There are times in your life where you're doing really good and everything is great, and you can pay things on time, and then things happen to people, and people get into situations, and unfortunately, it can be used, against you or what have you. But yeah, it's
Wow, that's crazy. So if you got a 450 credit score, don't try to go work at a bank.
No, because they're,
They automatically like nah.
they're going to think, well, this person might rob us or.
Yeah, I think that I personally ran credit for certain type of positions, like certain management positions, certain director of operations positions,
Right.
because they provide you with an Amex.
Yep.
So me giving you American Express, I'm basically trusting that you're going to be responsible and that you're going to do what you need to do. Certain positions, people just do. They their background as far as, like you said, the banking industry. My job, they run credit to make sure that you don't owe them or anybody that's associated with them.
Yep.
So if you're working for a student loan company, Sally Mae, they're going to run your
State and
credit
government jobs,
because they're going to make
especially.
sure that you don't,
Yeah.
okay, don't try to come work for me and you owe me $60,000. So not saying it like, which is crazy, but they run it. I've heard that Macy's is starting to run credit reports now.
Right. Wow.
So a lot of places are the credit employees included in the background. Like my job, I don't know if say my position was credit based, but I know that they ran an employment verification where if I'm verifying all your jobs, I tell people don't lie on your application because I call
Please don't.
all these companies and I'm like, hey, has such and such ever worked here? And they'll say, no, we don't have any record.
Wow.
Or a lot of companies outsource another company to check to see if you work there, and then they check for the education.
Yeah. Or
So
even
if
like
you're
lying
saying-
about the job that you did when you were there. I had somebody contact me one time and say, well, did such and such work there? Yeah, she worked here. Well, her application says that she was a manager, and I'm like, no, she was a
call
customer
center.
service rep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so everybody, it's different. Like I said, everybody does, goes about the whole job, applying for the jobs differently. And as far as the credit, like I said, some credit reports are part of the background process. I know we use a software where it's running a federal, a local, and a federal local background, but then it's gonna also click to run your education history. It's gonna also click to run your past 5 employers. So I'm gonna let you provide me the information, but I'm gonna run my own information too.
Yeah.
So don't
Right.
lie, because I'm gonna find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Right.
and here's a question too. I mean, has there ever been a person that you've interviewed where the interview went great? You're like, wow, this person's good, and then you run the credit, like, wow, that does not match the person.
Yeah, I've not necessarily the credit, but I would say like
won't say
this
that.
person sold me, brought in a bomb resume, cover letter,
Right.
great interviewer. Because anybody, I mean, it's not about it's how you can look good on paper, but in reality, when I look, it's not what it is.
Oh, okay.
So somebody comes in and they tell you everything. Oh, I can do this. I've done this. I have this type of certifications. I can do SharePoint. I can do this. But then when you call the last 4 employers, well, she could never get to work on time, or
Oh,
we
boy.
fired her because she couldn't provide us this, or she failed a drug test,
Yeah.
or I've had people be so good, and then I run their background and I'm like, dang,
Right.
I really wanted to hire her.
Right.
She was perfect. She could
Right.
do everything. She could work the
She
schedule.
sold it.
She could work this 12 to 9 that nobody wanted to work. She said she didn't have a problem. And then when I run her background, you're not what you say you can be. I just tell people be upfront, because you never know who might take a chance on you. I've
Right.
taken chances on people and they've done great. Then I'm taking chances on people who have completely disappointed.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I
Then
tell
last a
people,
week.
that's why I tell people, it's everybody's, oh, my job gets employee referrals. Don't refer everybody to a job that you work at.
I'm telling you,
never know
you ain't lying.
what they can do. My job, where I work at, is crazy because I've never seen a company that pays you so much for an employee referral for certain positions.
Yeah.
You can get a referral from anywhere from $500 up to like $5,000 to $6,000 for referring an employee.
Wow.
So it's paid out over like a 60-day period, but it's crazy because those people, for the most part, they all stay. They're high.
Right.
They're high in education
High profile.
field.
Mhm.
But if you are in an entry level position and you refer somebody, after they get a little taste of money, they're not coming back, or
Right.
they're late, and so then it just
waste.
sucks because I made her look bad, and there might be somebody that's gonna really come and do good. And I might say, oh, I have a referral. I'm not going to run a rehire. I don't want to hire your referral because the last person we
Right.
hired, you came,
Right.
they came with drama every day, gossip.
Exactly.
They were late, and then they quit.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize
yeah.
how much it takes to like onboard a person and to hire a person and train them. Like the effort and the time that you put into it and the cost associated with the company, only for you to stick around 60 days to get a bonus and then you leave. Like that's
Right.
crazy to me, but they do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And
I found the job.
you found it? What is the job?
Okay, it's called SAIA. It's SAIALTO Freight. They're hiring dock workers, forklift operators, and advanced from dock drivers. This is a felon-friendly position. It pays $16.24 an hour, all the way up to $20.92.
I mean, that's based on experience. So if you got experience, you're gonna be up in the 20 range.
Yeah, but if you don't, I mean, and they do say that they have a good chance to, advance.
Okay.
So it's a good company to work for. Actually, I know one of the girls that works for them. And like I said, it's felon friendly. They just want you to submit a resume, and once you submit the resume, I guess if you qualify, they're going to call you in.
Right.
And then they go through the background process and the drug screen.
Right.
And they'll hire you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, is it important for a person to put their GPA on their resume?
No.
No.
I mean, does that even matter?
To me, it
That's a
doesn't,
good question.
because you completed school.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this sounds bad, but I couldn't pass. My mom was probably listening and saying, oh my God. So I had a hard time with math,
Me too.
and I was struggling. Sis was struggling in math, and I could not get it together to save my life. It was a struggle. Basically, I did not. My GPA was affected my senior year because I could not. Math was not with me. But I finished.
Right.
Yeah.
So if the state of Indiana felt like I was smart enough to get this little diploma or Core 40 or whatever, then that's all that matters.
Right.
It's not necessarily. It doesn't matter. Like I have somebody who sent me a resume she wanted me to forward her resume to somebody else. It was a 4-page resume, and it was about every single
4
club.
pages.
4 pages.
I know that makes Kristen upset
God.
right now.
It was about
I'd be
every
like-
single. It was so funny because it was about every
Jesus.
single job. She said, "I was in the Black Student Union. I was in this. I was."
But you know, there was a time like when they told you like all of that
It
stuff mattered. And
Right.
so then
Yeah.
I think that people haven't, like, it's important to be involved in those things because it shows that you can collaborate, that maybe you're good at planning or like whatever the situation might be, but it's not always critical or crucial to your success as it relates to your job, you know,
Yeah.
getting
Right.
the interview and stuff. And I think people probably haven't, like, there's so many different things that have changed with resumes. Like before, people would tell you to put like your personal statement on it or whatever. Some
Yeah,
people want that,
yeah.
some people don't, because
Yeah.
sometimes that's also in your cover letter. So it just kind of depends. Like,
Right. A lot of the companies, and this is where I screwed up at prior to, getting my degree. Actually, once I got my degree, I screwed up even worse because I went through this period of time after my degree. Like, I'm like, cool, I got my degree now. That was the most important thing on my resume for me. So all my experience, I didn't even think about that. I just threw all that on there, put my
Yeah.
resume out there with my degree and was like, yeah, I'm going to get hired next week.
Yeah.
Don't work like that.
But since you had college, so did you put your GPA on? I mean,
No, I didn't put my GPA, but what
That doesn't matter.
this is what I missed. This is what I missed. I wasn't looking at the requirements of a company.
So you were just applying.
I
for
was just
stuff?
applying for
Because you had a
things
degree.
and
Yeah.
putting because I had a degree and putting all my bad experience on there, which wasn't bad experience. If I was working for one of the companies that I worked for in the past, but what I failed to realize was that those companies that I worked for in the past, whether they was 5, 6, 8 years, doesn't matter. Because if I'm applying for a job, and I'll just use technical writing since I'm in technical writing. If I apply for a job for technical writing, and my only experience is in washing trucks, look, I was supervising everything, 6 years flat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, look, my manager supervisor experience is going to get me in the door. That's not the case.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. A lot of companies are looking for specific information that applies to the job role. So this is what I started doing. I started paying attention to what they wanted. Now, if they wanted my GPA, I would give them my GPA. If they wanted specific things, and this you got to read the small print because they'll just put a lot of stuff in there, and a lot of the language that they put in there is really general. It's like I was talking with Ebony. Ebony's one of our co-hosts on the show. Shout out to Ebony Crow.
Yep.
And you'd be amazed, like a job role like instructional designer. You'd be amazed at what it actually is. It's not. It sounds intimidating, but it's really not. It's a lot of stuff that we do every day. You know what I'm saying? And you have to look at those kind of things. I see it in technical writing too. It'll have big words on there. You know what I'm saying? But once you start figuring out what these words are, and you're like, oh, I do that already. So you got to speak the language of the company. So if you're looking for a resume, you're going through a resume, and you're looking for something that I applied for this job, obviously. So if you don't see anything that relates to what I'm applying for, you're less likely to hire me, right?
Yep. And when you're dealing with Kristen, you have to keep it one page and one page only.
Just one page. Like,
One and keep it
Keep it
short.
simple.
I got that too. Now my page is I don't have an extensive resume, but I do have 2 pages, and it's because technical writing is
there's a lot
extensive.
involved in
Yeah,
that.
but
So
just depends on
yeah,
the
so it
position.
just depends on what the
Gotcha.
position is.
Yeah.
It might be necessary for you to put that, but generally you only need 1 to 2 pages. And like you said, you're gonna skim the first page, and that's why your summary is important, right?
yeah, I mean, like for me, if you're like, I've had people come, like you're 22, 23, and every job that you've had since you were like 15 that could get a work permit, you put it on there.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Like, don't do
Right.
that. And that's what, when I say like more than 1 page, like, because it's not relevant job experience. So, like, maybe you worked, you babysat for somebody,
Right.
or you worked for your church, or you worked at McDonald's or whatever, and you were only there for like 2-3 months. Like, I don't want that. But
Right.
then as I go down the resume, then I see that you worked over the summer, you did some interning, and you did 2
Right.
years of call center. Like, that's the stuff I want to see. You could have left all of that out.
Right,
So that I can
right.
see the important stuff. So.
right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I tell people, like, if you work, People get upset when I say this.
Uh-oh.
Just
If
like
you send me
get
your
them upset.
no, they do get upset.
Really?
Yeah.
Send me your resume. So when I prepare resumes for people, I say send me your old resume and any jobs that you've had that aren't on here. So
Right.
say if it's like 2 jobs, and then I've worked at Amazon since then, and I might work at Target after that, and I've been a manager at Target for 3 years. Okay, so the resume might be 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
Don't put a job on there with you were there for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
I won't put it.
It was
on
a good
there.
job, though.
But okay. So
That's why they put it on there. That was a
because
good
then I'm
job.
Because then I'm gonna say, well, why didn't
Why
you?
we only
Why'd
work
you
2
put?
months?
What happened with your time at Target? What happened, or whatever you were at for 2 months? Well, I got laid off. Not saying that it doesn't matter, but if they ask you about just let me ask you.
Right.
Well, okay. That's why I don't really put on the resumes. I don't put the months. I
Right.
might put 2012 to 2015.
Right.
I'm giving you a window of time. I'm not giving
Right.
you the exact date.
Leave the months off.
Leave the
Right.
months off, because if you're there from, my sister just did this. I'm calling her out. she my little sister. She did this from June to like September. It was very
Oh,
short.
man.
So I said,
You give
why
them
would
precise.
So I said, why would you put that? I said, why would you put that? She said, because that's a job I had. She said, leave that job on there. I said, what did you do? Did you get out of training? Don't put it on there. And she was like, well, I just found a better job. So you had a better opportunity. Just put that if they ask. If they don't ask, I
Right.
don't give them too much information.
Right.
I tell people that. Don't give me so much information, because then I'm going to be like, are you a job hopper? Are you
Right.
going
Yeah.
from one job
See, when you
to
give
the
me too
next?
much, I dig. I'm crazy enough to start asking you questions to see what you're gonna tell
About
me.
each
'Cause like I
one,
said,
right.
people
Yeah.
will talk to you if you make them comfortable enough, and they start
Oh, yeah.
saying stuff. Sometimes just for, I hate to say it, but for the entertainment factor, almost I'll ask you questions,
Right.
just to see what you'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And
Dig deeper.
Yeah, and then if you say, okay, well, I didn't like it, so I left. So are you going to get here and somebody makes you mad and you
You
don't
gonna
like
leave
it?
here
Are
too?
you going to leave?
Exactly.
I had a girl who applied for a job, and she was doing really well at this job for like 5 or 6 months. And she was showing me how she was getting all these little awards for sales. And they had posted a position for a management position in the store. It was a retail store. And I said, well, why did you leave? You could have been a manager eventually.
Right.
Well, they made me a key holder, but I applied to be a manager and they didn't give it to me. I said, but you had to put your time in. The other person that they gave it to had been there longer. So I didn't hire her, because I felt like if it was a position that you wanted and you applied for it and I didn't give it to you, you're going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking long term. I think long term with everybody.
Right.
So I don't want to hire you today and then tomorrow I make you mad because I tell you that you can't have off a day, or I can't give you this position because you haven't been here long enough.
Right.
So you're gonna quit.
Wow.
I don't do that. So I
Right.
I didn't hire her. And she asked after the fact when I sent the rejection. She said, "Is there something? Can you tell me why?" I said, "Because you gave up too quickly on this
Right.
company that you were working for. It was a good company. It was retail, but it was for your pace. You were only 19, and you were expecting them. You were a key holder."
Right.
Which that's a big deal for you to be 19,
Right.
but you were expecting them to make you a manager. You only been there for 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
This girl had
Yeah.
been there for years, and she told me. I mean, we were having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I respected her honesty, but I just didn't understand why she felt so entitled.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like I went to a lunch, a HR lunch a few months ago, and they kept saying, "Oh, you guys are the young HR." You're the young HR. You guys feel entitled. Like you guys are 29. I'm 29. So you guys are entitled. You guys think you need to be the HR managers and the directors of HR. And I said, no. I said, but we are. They call us the millennials. You guys are the millennials.
Right.
Okay. But, I mean, we have the education and the certifications. I mean, me, I won't lie. It's been times where I've been like, I need to be this or I want to be this.
Right.
We all
But
do.
I know there's been people who've had a little bit more experience than me, or they have the education. I can say that my mom, she had the education. She didn't have the education. She started, but she didn't finish. And she worked in the lab. She's worked in the lab as long as I've been born, I want to say, doing different types of stuff, lab work, psychology, and all types of stuff. But she doesn't have the degree. She got a position, I want to say the year before last. That's why I was going back to what we were talking about earlier about the education if it doesn't match. She had the equivalent, though. The person with the degree, the 2 other people with a degree, they weren't picked. They picked her because they were like, she's been literally doing this same position for
Right.
20 years.
Right.
So they put her in the position, and I'm like, well, you think you're gonna be overwhelmed? And she was like, no, girl, I've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
I mean, she showed them she's still doing it. And I mean, they ask you questions like the company I'm at. I started at this position in January. I left a job after being there for 4 years for a better opportunity.
Right.
This
That's
girl-
reasonable.
And it was a better opportunity because I feel like I was somewhere that didn't appreciate me,
Right.
and they weren't trying to pay me what I knew I deserved
Right.
with my experience. So I went somewhere else. My coworker, she's been there for 4 years, but she knows the company. They've changed. They went through different stages where they've, acquired different businesses. And she says, I learn something from you all the time. You teach me all the time. Which, I mean, you're supposed to, want to work somewhere where you can learn
Right. Absolutely.
more. But you just need to make sure that wherever you're doing, like I tell people, make sure that you're able to do it. Don't try to take on. Somebody might take the chance on you, but if you don't want to walk into a situation blind.
Right.
Know what they're expecting, know what you need to be doing.
Yeah, sit back and learn a little bit. I
Yeah.
think, people get too anxious when you get in that job role. You gotta pace yourself. Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna start all the people that's been there for a while gonna be like, look, you think she's tough stuff coming in here, trying to learn everything in 2 months and then want to raise and then want to become manager and supervisor. It's a process to everything.
But I think that goes back to what Whitney was saying about she mentioned the millennials. There's this big thing. So I'm a member of SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resources Management.
Okay.
And I have it on the national level and the city chapter. And they did a lot of forums last year about millennials in the workplace and how basically
Right.
the millennial generation is starting to come in and they're not patient. They don't want to wait. They
Right.
went to school, they've educated themselves, and they feel like they want it now.
Right. Right.
But some of us are like that as well. Some of us that are like Generation Xers or whatever. But I mean, it all basically goes back to the fact that sometimes you can get so passionate about what you're doing and you feel like I'm in the sweet spot. I'm doing really well. I'm ready to move on. And you forget about the fact that, like you said, you have to kind of pace yourself
Right.
and wait for opportunity. And maybe, it's not your season yet. Maybe it's not time for you to get it. But it doesn't mean that later, if the opportunity arises, that you might not be the
Right,
person
right.
that might not get
Right.
that
It's
job.
all about patience.
Yeah, that's a big
It's
thing,
hard
too.
to be patient.
Yeah.
That's a big thing too. Like it's been times where I wanted to work and do something more. Like I'm an HR analyst, so I would have never thought that I'd be working with spreadsheets every day,
Right. Right.
turnover and I don't like math.
Right.
Lord.
Look at you doing
I
today.
don't.
And see, I don't
It's
like
all about
data.
the numbers.
And I don't like data,
Mhm.
but I can pull a report for you in like 2 minutes over 7 or 8 different types of field from that.
Right.
So I never thought that I would be doing that, and I wanted to. I used to recruit, corporate recruit, so I was recruiting for 3 different locations. I was recruiting for New York. I was recruiting for Tennessee. I
Right.
was recruiting for Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. And then it got a little bit overwhelming. So I was trying to because I was trying to remember the laws for certain cities,
Right.
and it was a lot. I mean, I'm still learning, but then I was like, okay, I don't want to be a recruiter because I didn't want to. I just didn't think it was for
There's
me.
a lot that goes into
It's
that.
a lot of interaction with people. I like to interact with people.
Right.
So I like talking to people, I like meeting people, I like helping people. So me giving you a job, I feel like that's helping me. But I really I was reading people, but not really because I was more so on the phone a lot
Okay.
with people, and I didn't want to do that. Then I did the employee relations thing, and I still do that now more so. But I mean, the overall day-to-day, like the day-to-day HR functions, I like that. But you can't go and I tell people all the time, take a personality test.
Mm-hmm.
My old boss, she had a degree in chemistry, and she became an HR manager.
Right.
Why? Because she took a test.
Right.
and it
Disc
told her
disc
that she
training is
was-
out there. I don't
And
know
it
if
told
you,
her
yeah.
that she wanted. It told her that the person that she took the test with, told her you would be good in HR, and she was the bomb. She could do everything. She could teach you everything.
Right.
Taught me a lot. She taught me a lot of stuff. So I learned so much from her,
Right.
and it was crazy. Like you never really know. So if I start working in a warehouse, okay, some people like the exercise, the constant movement. Other people don't like that. Some
Right.
people tell you, I'm going crazy on these phones. I don't want to be on the phones. anymore. It's stressing me out. Or I don't want to hear about people's problems because they're calling me, telling me why they can't pay a bill. So it might not be for you, but you want to make sure that you're doing something that you're actually enjoying doing, because if not, you have poor performance. And then when I call and check on your job, they'll say, well, she was rude. We fired her. I mean, you weren't happy at the job, so of course you were rude.
Right.
Right. Here,
Let's go to the viewers. There was a few questions that came in.
Well, you know what? I want to get to this comment first.
Okay.
Someone said that they disagree with what you said.
On patience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that,
Yeah.
and I'll reiterate. But I'll go ahead and do the question, and I'll reiterate.
Ida, God favors me, Anderson. Her question is it true that recruiters judge based on your address?
I say, because since I used to recruit, okay, somebody asked me this the other day to do her resume, and I think she's watching. She said, I'm relocating, but I said, you didn't send me your address. Send it so I can finish it. She said, I don't want to put my address on there because I'm in Indianapolis and they won't consider me because I'm in a different state. But I think what Ida is saying is,
Like,
if
what
I
if I
live
li-
in a different type of side of town,
Right.
am I going to not be considered? We had an issue with someone told us that they didn't think we were going to hire them because where they lived. Now, okay, realistically, that's against the law.
Right.
If you apply for a job, say that we are in Castleton, and
Right.
you live all the way
25th and Station.
no that's
California.
not, no, say so if your resume is reflecting that you live in
Like
Terre
Jackson.
Haute,
Gotcha.
are you gonna be able to
Every day.
to make that commute every single day,
In the
even in the
snow,
blizzard,
all
and
that.
still be on time?
Right.
So I mean, we can never discriminate, but that when you come in, that's going to be a question I ask you. I'm going to ask you, are you going to be able to make that drive? I mean, there's people that drive from. I used to have people in my, like I said, my former job, because it was a call center, so it was so many different people. I had people driving every day from Muncie, from Bloomington. We had a manager that drove from Bloomington every day because he wanted his son to go to this high school in Bloomington. So he drove every day here.
Okay.
Every day, and blizzards, and he might be late, but he was a manager. So it was more so we can never they never can discriminate, but you're never required to put your address on a resume. You aren't required. People do. I mean, it looks good. I put my address, but I'm in Indianapolis. But it is a disclaimer. Like, I know when I was living in Florida, and I was living here, trying to get a job in Florida, people would email me and decline me off top. So I would ask them, I would say, am I being declined because of me living in Indianapolis because I'm relocating in 2 weeks? And they would say, yeah, or
wow.
no, or just apply when you get here.
Right.
But nobody can ever just, not hire you because you live in
Right.
Hallville.
Has to add
or
up.
because you live
Yeah.
in, you
Unless
need to
it's
give
a
me
remote-
you
that's
need
what
to
she-
give
remote
me
job or
you need to-
something.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
to give me a reason why. You're not hiring me because I live in Palm Post Road. It's
Yeah.
not okay.
Okay.
That's not it's not any reasoning, because that doesn't mean that you don't do a good job because you live on Post Road.
Right.
I know there was a recruiter. We had remote recruiters, and she lived in Ohio. She had a family problem, a family emergency. She relocated to South Carolina. We couldn't keep her because she couldn't get licensed in that state.
Oh,
You
okay.
had to have a certain type of license to talk to certain people.
Valid
We couldn't
reason.
license you.
Right.
So you have to give me a valid reason on why I'm not going to hire you. I'm not going to not hire you because you live on Post Road. That
Right.
don't mean nothing, because you can live on Post Road, but you can be the best
worker ever.
the best help desk person I've ever
Right.
had. You can fix all the computers. I mean, you probably know the job better than the people that have worked here longer. So
Right.
that's never true. But you don't have to put it on there. Just put a good email and a good phone number for me to reach you at.
Yeah.
The address doesn't mean
Please,
anything.
The email address and the phone number, please make them valid. Like, it's discouraging to see a really good candidate and then you try to call somebody.
Yeah.
And the
And then
phone's off.
Yeah. the
Or
phone-
not working.
Or
Or
the
the
voicemail is full
or
and you
the-
can't leave a message.
Or the email kicks back.
Right.
I hate that. I'll send you an email. Hi, I'm interested in a phone screen, and then they'll say,
Wrong
this
email.
email kicks back in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it's no way for me to reach you. I'm not going to track you down. Like I tell people all the time, make sure your information is right because you need this job.
Right.
I have a job. I'm trying to give you a job.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
just make sure your information is right. check your voicemail. Don't have your voicemail not set up.
Right.
Because if I can't leave you a message, then how am I going to get in touch with you?
You'll never know you call.
So I tell people, check your voicemails, and I'm bad at this, so don't tell nobody. I might have like 18 voicemails right now on my phone.
Right, but you're not looking for a
I'm
job.
not actively looking for
Right.
a job. But if I'm looking
Right.
for a job, and you know you're putting your resume out, hey, I have people who say, I need a response by tomorrow. I have interviews Friday, and I want you to come. Can you come?
Right.
But if you're not, you're not posting your job, you don't have a way for me to reach you. I can't offer you to come in for an interview tomorrow.
Right.
Like I posted about a job earlier today, and it was saying something about job. I want to say it's a job. Oh, the Pepsi is hiring, and Ryder, they're hiring second and third shift workers. They wanted people to apply all week because they were doing an orientation tomorrow at Pepsi.
Right.
So it's like you had to have applied beforehand.
So a lot of people showing up thinking they're gonna get hired, and they did the prerequisites.
They couldn't reach you to let you know where to come.
Okay.
You're not picking up don't screen your phone calls.
Ah,
Because I might not
yeah.
call you. If I'm calling you from my cell phone, I'm going to call you restricted. I might be home.
The last two companies I worked for, all of my recruitment was done via email before I even got the position. So, like, when they reached out to me about the phone screen or wanting to do whatever, like, all of it was by email. And so, like, if you're a person who doesn't check your emails regularly or things go to your spam folder or whatever, you miss out. Because a lot of times, most of the recruiters I know, once they try to contact you once, maybe twice, they've kind of moved on and
They
decided to
reject
go
you.
with somebody else. Yeah, when they can't make contact with you. So.
Right.
Is
Right.
Is
All right,
it-
hold on. I just wanted to reiterate a question from Jantina Anderson. She said, I disagree. Patience is not the key to career success. You must strategically pursue your desired role. That may include lateral moves and promotions. No one will notice you while you are waiting. Pursue your career. Now, I agree with part of that, but I wanted to reiterate the patience. When I was saying that people need to be patient, I'm speaking on, you just worked at this job for 2 months. Or 3 months or 4 months, give yourself time to learn the job, to get good and great at the job, then make those moves. So I agree with you, Gentina, absolutely. But, it was in the patience was in perspective of waiting to learn the job. You know what I'm saying? You can't make those lateral moves and be good at this career if pushing for manager after 2 months. It's just not possible.
She's right about lateral moves and all of that, because when I started my HR career, I started in 2011. I left. I was working in a billing department for Anthem, and I left, and that's when I decided to
Sure.
pursue my career. What?
Anthem is horrible, but go
That's
ahead.
another story.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Oh
But
my God.
I did what I needed to do. Like I tell people all the time, HR is one of those fields where a lot of times you look at the job descriptions, they want you to have so many years of HR experience, but it's like off top, how are you going to get it if somebody hasn't taken a chance on you to give it to you? So I crafted what I felt like I needed to be an HR professional. So
Right.
I started in the HR call center as a generalist, and then I continued to move, and I got my specialties like, my FMLA and my short-term disability, and I put things together, benefits, all of that. So she's right, it does include some of that, and there were some times that I took a lateral move, and I felt like I deserved a promotion.
Right.
There were some times, and my husband was mad at me too, because I took, a pay cut to do some of the stuff it was that I did. But in the end, in the long run, it paid off for me to kind of get to where I am today, because had I not done that, I wouldn't have gotten what I wanted. So she's right, in that respect too. But patience is involved in that. Like you said, in certain areas, you can't come into it and think, okay, well, I'm ready to be the HR director.
Right.
Not necessarily. You're still a
You got to
generalist.
learn everything.
You got some things you want to do. So either way you look at it, both pieces of information from you and
Sure.
from her, were beneficial.
For sure. Absolutely. There was another question, I believe, where someone said for the age group, does age matter when it comes to working in the workforce? Some people are at an age where they're,
50.
over 50 or ready to retire, or just in that area. They got the experience, very good at what they do, but then you got a new young squirt coming in, fresh out of college, 24, 25 years old, resume looks good, just starting, and they're getting in those positions where someone has more experience.
So we can't discriminate. That's ageism. That could have us in a situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we can't do that. But at the same time, I don't really look at it like because you're older, you're better, or because you're younger, you're better. Like at the end of the day, I'm looking at you, your body of work, and trying to figure it out. Like
Your skill set.
yeah,
Right.
like
Like,
I mean,
what can you do? What can you?
yeah, I mean, and I'm probably gonna get some flack for this one, but I'll
here
go
we go.
there because yeah. So I think a lot of times there was a point in time where everybody was like, go to college, and you're guaranteed to come out of college with a job.
Right.
That's not necessarily the case. And you still have some people that feel like, well, because I went to college and because I have a degree, you
Right.
should hire me, you should want, and
Right.
but not necessarily, because like she said, if the skill set doesn't match, if you don't have what we need, then we might have to pass on you. You
Right.
know, for somebody who, like you were saying about your mom, maybe didn't go to school, but they've been doing the same job for 30 years and they get it and they can be trained quickly and
Right.
they can come in and they can assume the role. So
Right.
just kind of depends. It's all situational either way you look at it.
That's good. Good answer.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great. Yes.
Absolutely, man. This has been so informative.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You know, I think the one thing that people struggle with outside, because we had to realize one thing. You know, we do a lot of segments on business. You know, start up your own business, get out there. This is what you do to get it going. But we fail to realize that there's just a lot of people who aren't into wanting to
Owning
run
business,
business or
yeah.
own a
Right.
business. And a lot of people out there are just looking for that high-paying job, just looking for that job that's going to make them happy. You know, not necessarily even the pay sometimes, but the important part is job preparation. You know, understanding your resume, getting your resume tailored to go get a job. Like I said, it took me 6 to 7 months until I got a job that fit the description for what I was doing, because I just didn't understand how to build a resume. So, you know, if you know, this is another reason why we want to do this show, is that if I'd have knew half the things that we spoke on today, you know, I'd have probably got that job,
10 years
3
ago.
weeks, you know. So, I think it's important for people to understand, you know, what they have to do. I posted some items in the feed there that addresses. Hold on, let me go back to it. It's just sample interview questions for the candidate to practice before the interview. There are a lot of things that you can do for yourself before you even go to an interview, and just mentally practice those things. You know, what do you see as your greatest strength? You know, what do you see as your greatest weakness? You know, these are some questions that you guys may ask, you know, candidates.
Yeah.
You know, that's like a trick question. You know, like how you gonna tell somebody what you're weak at? You know what I'm saying? You know, so give us a little bit of information behind why those questions are important.
It paints a picture. It tells a story. Like I was saying earlier about if you let a person talk long enough, you'll find out everything that you want to know about the
Right.
person. I think probably one of the best things that I could have ever done for myself was realize the areas that I was deficient in.
Okay.
Because a lot of times when you go to the interview is just to boost yourself up or to pump yourself up.
Right.
Being able to sit in a room with people who I didn't know, but I'm fighting pretty much kind of almost like for your life, if you will, because you're trying to get the job of your dreams.
Right.
And to tell somebody, I'm not strong in these areas, but I'm working towards them. That right there in itself, that speaks volumes for a person. That's courage.
Yeah,
Right.
it
In
does.
that moment, to
Right.
be able to tell somebody that, you know, I'm not really good at this, but I can get there if
Right.
I have the right mentor, if I have the right job, if I'm putting
Humility.
in the area.
Good-
So
good
that
humility,
right there shows,
yeah.
it shows humility, and it shows a willingness to want to be a better person. So
Man, that's great.
Right, and then it says, you know, once you say, what do you see as your greatest weakness, and then the next question is, what are you doing to improve this area? So it basically was reiterating what you were just saying. You know, like you know, it's everybody has a weakness, so that's not going to not get.
Sometimes I'm really nice to people, which that is me. But at the same time, if you do something wrong, I'll fire you.
Right.
And then I fired people that I've actually been friends with. Like, it was
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
Like, I went at my old
I've done that.
position. I was in a
I've done
position and I was on the phone. And then I became a leader, a team lead. And then, like, as time went by and I'm, doing everything as far as like school and just, okay, I want to work in HR now. I go to HR and they did stuff where it was attendance or their cell phones and they weren't supposed to have them, or disrespectful, and I fired them, and it felt bad. I felt to myself, I'm like, this is
Right.
oh, this is so messed up. This is my friend.
Right.
But then in reality, I'm like, this is business. It's me or you.
Right.
So let me let you go.
Yeah.
But I mean, people think like, oh, I'm fired for no reason, or somebody. got
Right,
fired
and
for
then
no
they take it,
reason.
and then they feel
take
like
it
you're a
personal.
friend. I'm cool. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. You can't have that kind of
This thing
mindset.
at work, where we had to unfortunately separate ways with some people, and so now when people see me at work, I had this reputation. If you see me in the contact center, because my office is around the corner,
Somebody's
but
about
if
to
you
get
see
fired.
me in the contact center, oh, somebody's getting ready to get fired, and I'm like, not really, because I try to come around and say hi to people. Like, I never want people to think I'm just an HR rep and I'm standoffish and you only see me at bad times.
Right.
But I had to tell somebody one day, she's like, well, this is what's going on with me and I'm just telling you so I don't get fired. And I was like, listen, please know that anybody in this building that I fired, if they're your friend, your coworker, whatever they were to you, know that they knew that they were going to get fired before they got fired. Like,
Right.
I didn't just wake up in the morning and say it's going down. There were things that had happened prior to
That
us
led
in
up
that
to it,
moment that
yeah.
led up to it. And so if they don't want to
Right.
be honest with you, that's fine.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you what happened, but just know that I didn't just wake up in the morning on Tuesday and decide everybody's getting fired.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
not how that went,
Right.
you know. But it was real to me. I'm like you, the first time I had to fire somebody that I knew, that's when I knew I was like, I really, like, I got a big girl job now. Because
That's
Yeah.
how I feel too.
that's some serious stuff.
Right.
Like, that's
I mean,
how I
I've
feel
been
too,
there, yeah.
and it's different where I'm at because I've never fired anybody so far where I'm at that has been in the same building as me. I've done it over the phone, over a web video, WebEx.
Right.
It's different. You get different reactions from different people.
Right.
So I mean, people know, but then again, people do stuff to get themselves fired. So,
Right.
like,
Right.
attendance.
So it's their own fault.
So and then it's like when you think it to yourself, like you gotta remove the personal from it. Like I have to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that is so messed up. Man, she just had a baby last month, and now, or 2 months ago, she had a baby, and now I'm firing her. But I mean, you knew that you had to be on time.
It's a business
Right.
decision.
If there's opportunities where you're always late, it's hard for you to get to work, or you got a situation where you got kids. If it's
Resign.
difficult for you to work for someone, start your own business.
I say that.
I can't say that enough, and I say that because it's not always going to fit your scenario.
But my thing about that is there are some behaviors about us that we need to correct. And
Before
I
we
wouldn't
even
care
start
what
that,
situation you're in.
Right.
If you're not on time in the corporate environment or working for somebody
gonna be
else,
timely with
then
yourself.
you're not going to be timely when you're working for yourself. And then
Right.
as African Americans, Black people, whatever you want to refer to us as, we always get that bad reputation when we deliver bad service. And it's not because we don't have a good business or a good product. It's because we've not fixed who we are as people. Just because
Right.
you work for yourself doesn't mean
Good
that you still
point.
don't have to show up on time.
Right.
You still don't have to be professional. You still don't have to articulate well. Like, it's got to be who you are. It's your brand. It's your
Yes.
overall
Right,
whatever.
right.
So
Yes.
even if I fire you from corporate and you go out tomorrow and start a cleaning crew, if you don't get your stuff together, you're always going to be in a
They're gonna
situation.
terminate you, right.
Exactly.
Right.
You're going to lose contracts out there. It has
Right.
to be who you
But
are.
and everybody,
Right.
to
That's
me,
a good point.
And to me, I don't feel like everybody can own a business.
Right.
So I mean, I get it.
I agree.
Like, you know, everybody's. You know, I support all businesses, Black businesses, whoever. I love small business. But I don't think everybody can own a business.
Right.
Why not?
Because I feel like
Takes a special
some people
set of
don't. Some
skills.
people, it's a special set of skills.
Got to be a good leader.
And some people
Yeah.
don't really have it in them. Like I was doing some documents for somebody once, and Marcus Wayne just said preach because he knows what I'm talking about. And I asked him, how much money did you make last year? Because I'm doing some documents for him for his government. He's
Okay.
trying to get some government money.
Uh-huh.
And I said, how much money did you make last year? I don't know.
Oh boy.
What do you mean you don't know?
You have to
You
know
can't
that.
play- the
So
government's money
the whole
right
time
there.
I'm like, well, you don't know how much money you made in 2015. I need to know so that I can document this, because if you want me to get you some free money, some
Right.
grants, I need you to tell me how much you made. I don't know. I never keep a book. I'm just trying to get, trying to get this money.
Oh
I'm
boy.
trying to get this money. Everybody's not about that. But then he was portraying it on his end as, I'm doing it for the kids. I'm doing it for the
Right,
community.
right.
So everybody's, his in the
Oh,
business.
boy.
The concept of the business was a nice business. It was a
Right.
good idea.
Uh-huh.
But together he couldn't keep it together financially.
Right.
As far as being able to tell you how
That's
much money
unfortunate.
to keep the books together. And it would have been a good idea if
Right.
I would have invested.
Right.
If it was me, if I had money, like if I was able to.
Right.
That I would have been like, it's something to keep kids active. It's a good idea.
Right.
But I just knew that he couldn't keep it together. So some people can't run a business. Some people can't tell you, okay, some people can't really work well with others. Like I could probably say if I owned like a business where it was like a lawn care business and I had a staff,
Right.
I get, so when people don't do something that I feel like is the right way, I get overwhelmed. So it's funny when they say, oh, he don't work well with others. Like, no, really.
Right.
it just needs to be just you. So
Right.
everybody can't do that. I mean, I want, people to be able to own their own
Right.
business, but everybody can't do it because they can't keep up with the financial part of
Right.
it, and then with the business part of it. So you can have a staff, but you have to realize everybody that you hire can't be your family.
Right.
So it's not. I just think that everybody just needs to apply themselves, and
Right.
Education is a big deal. But then
Get
again,
work ethic.
get work ethic.
That's
You know
And
what
be
I'm
about
saying?
be about your
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
because if you're providing wherever you're working, you're providing some type of service.
Right.
So if the shoe was on the other foot, if I'm providing, if I'm serving you pizza and I'm late, you're gonna say, well, y'all told me y'all was gonna be here at 10 o'clock. It's 10:40. So you're gonna say something.
Right.
So you don't want to try to give off. You just want to, give off the same.
Right. Good points. Jesus.
Yeah, great point.
This is good stuff.
Great stuff.
And this is why we have the experts here.
Yeah.
Because obviously,
I'm not an expert.
No, I mean,
right,
no,
sure.
y'all are good at what y'all
You
do.
know what though, man? That is a question though. I mean, do y'all see yourselves in the future like writing a book on like HR?
No.
I don't know about
don't
writing a
think.
book. I do. So like, I do stuff like outside of work, related to HR, just to kind of help other people.
Okay.
So like, I do. Dress for Success has this program called Next Steps.
Okay.
And so you get together like with their participants, and they go through like a series of workshops or whatever. And I facilitate a couple of workshops where I talk about like what we're talking about now, like employee
Awesome.
responsibilities and
Yeah.
how to dress and like your resume and all of that. So I don't know that I'll ever do a book, but I don't mind going and like talking to people
Right.
about like human resources or just like the things it is that I've done to try to be what I feel is successful, kind of in my realm or whatever.
Right.
So
That's
I don't
good.
think book writing is my lane.
I mean,
Yeah.
people ask me all the time, why do you always post all those jobs? Because I post probably like 25. You see?
Yeah,
probably
I
post
see them
about
all the
20
time.
I post about 25 jobs a day.
I followed you for that because
And-
I got some people.
And so, share them, screenshot it, whatever you want to do. People say, oh, I can't share it because it's not public. I made my page public.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about people sharing the jobs, but don't DM me and say, well, how do you apply? If I said, this is how you apply. Or
Yeah.
say, can you get me on? Just apply. I can't plug you because it's not my company.
Right.
And I don't really know. I just post what I'm told. So
Right. If you can't follow instructions, you don't need
you
to be
don't need
applying
a job,
anyway.
and that's the truth. Like if you can't follow this basic instruction where I just said log on and apply,
Right.
apply and see what's gonna happen. It's not the job for you. I actually just got certification. I got my SPHR.
Did
So
you?
yes.
Congratulations.
And
What
it
is
was
what is
really
that?
hard.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's
So
great.
it's like senior professional, like in HR. So basically, you just basically saying I've mastered it, but
Right.
I don't think I
You mastered it. Yes, you did. Hey.
And
Yeah, you
it's
did.
and it was very it was.
But
it
you
was,
learn something new every day, though.
And I learn something new every day. So people always say, why are you always sharing them jobs? This one girl said, I'm about to unfriend you. You're in my timeline all day. LOL. But in myself, I'm thinking to myself, like, well, let me unfriend you because you never know. You could be fired from your job tomorrow.
And need one.
Or
Need
forbid,
one.
you might need one. Or, so, but okay. And,
Jesus.
and then there's other people that comment and say, thank you so much. But then I get an average of 40, 50, 60 shares on one
Right.
post because people are looking for a job. Everybody needs a job. So I do have a business. It's called Words by Whitney.
Okay.
And I do
Okay.
resumes. I have a flyer on my page. I do resumes and business plans and cover letters.
Awesome.
And I have random specials.
Nice.
And the main specials I run are the resumes and cover letters because don't apply for a job without a resume.
Right.
And my resume, there's like a company I've actually learned from. This lady taught me, and she's in Cromwell. This was like 8 or 9 years ago. Her resumes are like $150.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's not about the money for me. I have a special right now, and they're like $20, $25.
It's not
With
bad.
like free edits for a year. And she
Right.
told me the other day, she said, you need to charge more for this, but it's not about that. I just think everybody should be doing something.
Right, and you are
So
providing a
you're doing- I'm
service.
providing a
Right.
service,
Yeah.
and I'm giving you free edits for a whole year.
Right.
So that's good. I mean, she's gonna give you free edits for a whole year, but you just gave her $150.
Right.
Like, I'm not knocking anybody for what they do, but I just feel like
No,
everybody should
no.
be doing something. Like it's a job for everybody.
It's a difference in
Right.
providing a
That's
service
awesome.
for somebody and caring, and then
Wow.
just
Yeah,
providing a
exact-
service for somebody just because you know you're good
Right.
at it and you can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so-
but as a business though, you are saturating that market.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody told me that the other day. This guy was like,
Yeah,
God,
she is.
the guy was like, God, you post all these jobs, and then I post my flyer. I'm like, book me if you need a resume, because
Yeah.
a lot of people I know, a lot of online portals. It's called iSIMS, where you apply for a job.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take your application without an attachment, which is without the resume. But a lot of people, if you don't submit a resume, I don't even want to talk. I won't talk to you because it's like
Right.
you didn't give me that extra. You didn't give me the extra. Just give me that little bit of time. Just tell me about you so I can know.
Right.
Okay, Alex used to work at Steak and Shake. Alex used to be an employment coordinator for the
Right.
Gray Area.
That helps build it. Right.
Alex used to work at Target.
Right.
So and then Alex graduated from Butler. So I know a little bit about you before I even meet you. It's like that's like your introduction. The
Right.
resume is your introduction.
Mhm.
The cover letter is more so targeted towards a specific job, but the resume is everything.
Right.
And people message me and they say, "Oh, can you do me a resume?" And I'm always like, "Yeah, I'll do your resume." But then this one girl asked me to do a resume. I did it. And then she said, "When can you send it back?" I said, "Well, let me know when you want to pay. You want to use PayPal?" She said, "You charge for this? That's stupid."
What?
I'm like,
That's my time,
yeah, it's
my
time,
service.
but I'm trying to help you be better. But it's not even like it's a, to me, like it's
That's
not a lot.
ridiculous.
And it was one point where I was doing resumes for free. Like I haven't done it in a few months. Well, I don't know, I should mention it. For people, for single mothers or mothers who weren't working and looking for jobs.
Right.
And some of them, they utilized it. Others were like, "Girl, I can't even find it. Can you send it to me again?" Just different stuff like that. So
Right.
everybody's different, but I think the biggest thing is just look. Just look. You don't want to be off work too long,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be a job hopper. If you're hopping jobs, it needs to be because you're working for a temp job or something like that.
So
But
what-
not even then.
So what would be considered the minimum for a person not to be considered a job hopper? Like,
You need to be
what?
on your job for at least a year and a half to
Gotcha.
me.
Year and a half.
Like, my sister, I'm back to her, my little sister, she gets bored. So she'll be like, well, and she's making good money. She's working overtime. She's, working a good job. And then she'll be like, I don't like this job anymore. Where else can I apply? Well, have a better reason, or at least say, I took a better opportunity. Because
Right.
if you tell me in an interview, interviewing skills are everything.
Right.
If you tell me in an interview, okay, why did you leave Sam's Club? I was bored. I was tired of putting them groceries on those pallets every day.
Oh man.
I was bored. I was tired of looking at the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, okay, well, I got a new job and I work at
Career
Walmart,
advancement, something.
and they were paying
Yeah.
more, and the hours were better.
Right.
I mean, it's just more so showing that you're able to get something better, but it wasn't like you left for the wrong reasons.
But
And I
Right.
tell people, did you provide a notice?
Right.
And people tell me they don't provide a notice.
At least
I
2
won't
weeks.
hire you. I don't want to hire you because I might be working on a really, really big project,
Mm-hmm.
and you might have found another job, but I really need you to help me finish this project. I'm very happy for you that you got this new job.
We need to
Right.
wrap
But if you
this
just
up.
left me, if you just left that person, that's not right. You didn't give them the respect. They took a chance on you and they hired you and they're
Right.
working with you and they've been paying you, and then you leave them. I don't want to hire you because I feel like you're going to leave me high and dry. So
Right.
I tell everybody to give some type of notice
Right.
because
Why even? I mean, and it just goes back to what you guys were saying. As far as like, why even put it on the resume if you were only there for 2 or 3 weeks? You know what I'm saying?
Put it on the
couple
resume.
months,
Put it
and
on the
you
resume.
providing references, the manager's number, supervisor number. They won't. The new job won't know.
Some organizations won't, so I can tell you, I worked for Community Health Network.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put in a 2 weeks notice at community,
Right.
regardless of what the job is, so it's working in the kitchen, being security, nurse, whatever, they won't hire you back. They'll mark you as non-rehirable
Wow.
for not putting in a 2 week notice. So
yeah, and that's how it is too. Like if you left on,
That's
or
tough.
if you exit before your 2 weeks.
yeah.
Right.
So like say I give my notice and I say my last day is March 21st and I leave on March 18th. Then without them asking me like, well,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to leave? We don't have any work for you.
So you could
Right.
have had an outstanding body of work, and then you ruin it just because you're ready to go.
Right.
And then when I call,
That's
when,
greed.
and then when I
That's
call,
greed, though.
and then when I call or I send the company to call to verify your employment, I'll say, okay, can you tell me if Kirsten is rehireable? No.
Mm.
Like right there, if I get a non-rehirable for somebody,
Not moving
I'm not going
forward.
forward. I'm like, oh, well, never mind. Throw the whole interview away because
Right.
I basically hired this girl. I sent her background stuff off, and I can't get her on because she's not rehireable.
Right.
So, and they say, do they provide notice? Sometimes I say, well, I can't disclose that.
Right.
But then later, because we really technically, you can't really disclose, well, how much the person was making. Okay, well, Bob was making $150,000 a year. His title was a director of marketing.
Right.
Okay, so did Bob provide a notice? We can't disclose that. Was Bob rehireable? No.
No.
That right there is
That's
going to
right.
be
Oh,
like,
man.
well,
Yeah.
Bob's gone. Well, Bob, never mind. You ain't
Dang,
coming over
Bob,
here.
you messed it up.
See you later, bye.
Speaking of resumes, though, is the heading or the header important?
Yeah, that's a good question.
No, it doesn't even matter. That has nothing to do with it. The main thing that matters on the job, the resume, is to me, the format is a big thing. Spelling, grammar.
What
Don't
font should a
spell the-
person use?
I use
Times New
times,
Roman?
Yeah.
but I use a lot of borders and different little stuff. Like they look nice. Don't put the references on there. Don't put your references on a resume. Don't put Becky, Susanna, and Paula's phone number and address and area code and email.
Right.
Just, you can put references
References,
upon request.
yeah.
Because you
Right.
never know. I might need 5 references. I might just want one. And it might not be any of those people you listed. I might want the
The
manager
person
from
that you work for.
the manager from McDonald's
Yeah.
that you worked at 5 years ago.
Right.
Or not your cousin or your aunt
Right.
that that knows you. I
Right.
want the random person. I'm going to ask you for a person, so don't put the references on there. I don't think you being on the cheerleading squad matters. You being a part of the Black Student Union, that doesn't matter. I mean, not saying like they're not that it doesn't. You're not standing on anything. I did a resume for a guy once, and he said he said one of his college friends, she made it for him, and he was I don't know. I want to say he was a Kappa or something. She put it down the side of the resume in a red bubble,
Oh, boy.
and it looked. And I
Christopher.
said, I can pull it up.
I'm
I
working on
can
that.
pull it up, and I said,
Oh my God.
and it was one page,
But
and it was on resume paper. It was nice. It was a nice looking resume.
Right.
But I was so lost because I kept saying,
Being on the
It looked-
fraternity is not going to get
it's
you
like
a job.
a long red strip, and I kept saying, "What is this?" And then I looked, and it said, that he did all this community service and all that, and I'm like, okay. So you graduated. What's your degree in? What year did you complete it? And he said, "Oh, I graduated in 2015, and my degree is in social work or what." I'm like, okay, but I told him, and I said, "Hey, I do resumes. I want to tell you, I hired him, but I said I want to tell you that doesn't matter. It doesn't
Right.
matter that you're in a fraternity.
Right.
Like you're not going to be interviewed. You could be interviewed by your frat brother. You never know. I might be a Delta or something. I'm like, oh, it's a conversation
Yeah,
topic.
yeah.
Some people do that because they're like, oh, you in a sorority? I am too. I'm an AKA. Oh, you're a Delta girl. Shut
Does
up.
that help a lot, though?
No,
with
it
people?
doesn't matter. People
It's
think
just conversation.
People think that it
Because
does.
some people think, yeah, like you
Oh, you
said.
play basketball at IU? Oh, girl, me too.
I've known people that it's helped like get the interview.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I had like a girlfriend of mine relocated to another city, and her sorority information was on her resume. And the person who was the recruiter called her back, and she was like, "Oh, hi, I am too," and that got her in the door.
Yeah.
It didn't get her the job; it just got her in the door. So I mean, I guess it just depends. If you're a person who, you want like-minded individuals to work for you, and you want to say, well, because we're in
Right.
the same organization, I want to get you in. That's fine. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of like. I won't say that it matters 100% because it, like she was saying, it really doesn't hold any weight. The experience, the body of work, that's what holds the weight. But
Right.
Yeah.
What about things like Six Sigma and Toastmasters? Are those things that you should put on a
Six
resume?
Sigma definitely would be, because if you're going
that's
for
really
a job
good.
and it's a certification, and on some applications or resumes, they might say that they want somebody that's Six Sigma certified. So yeah, that would definitely help you with
Yeah.
that. The Toastmasters part of it helps you with your public speaking. So if you're a facilitator for Toastmasters, and say maybe you're going for a job that requires you to do some facilitation, then like things that are relevant.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
That has to do with something. To do
Right.
with
Right.
Yeah.
Like I did a resume for a guy. He works for the post office. He's the IT person. He graduated from University of Alabama, I want to say. He had so many certifications that he got from the post office. I mean, he still is at the post office. And I kept saying, "Oh my God, do you really need all these?" And he was like, "Yeah, because I don't know. I hire for IT, but I'm like, does this matter? I don't really hire. We set them up with the managers, so the managers is really like, okay, he has what we need. So when I'm actually doing it for somebody, I kept saying, why does this matter? And he was like, because I can do this, and this has to do with this. So everything is wrapped into whatever. Your certifications, yes, are everything. Now, if you're applying for a customer service position, do not put that you are CPR certified. I do not care about you having a CPR certification. If you are trying to get a customer service job, I'm not worried about you
might be
saving
able
a
to
life.
save your cue, baby.
He may want to resuscitate some people.
I mean, yeah, like people put stuff on there that has nothing to do with nothing. Like, okay, I had 130 hours of community service. I'm CPR certified. I was a lifeguard. I'm a lifeguard, trained lifeguard. But there's no job listed about a lifeguard on there. That it's just really it's funny, but it's crazy because I'm laughing because I'm like, you put a job
People
about
just don't
a
realize
lifeguard,
that.
but you don't
Yeah.
have a lifeguard job on here. Like if you were, you had a lifeguard position, you're like, okay, I'm a trained lifeguard, CPR certified, first aid. I get that, but if you're just make sure that everything is relevant.
Right. That's awesome. That is awesome. We had a viewer chime in. Demetrius Bruno. She's
out.
with Rosie Redemption Outreach Services, and she specifically has an organization that helps felons get hired. She would like to collaborate with you. And she's in the comment section, so you guys definitely collaborate because
You
she.
can add me on Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
www.rosie.org. ROSI.org.
Rosie, yeah, Rosie-ind.org. Go ahead and Demetrius, go ahead and add her on Facebook or follow her page. It's at Whitney
It's Whitney Michelle Fagan.
Michelle
on Facebook.
Fagan.
You can add me. I'll accept you.
Okay, there you go. Man, y'all are doing such a service, man. We just
Absolutely.
appreciate y'all coming. We definitely don't want Facebook to kick us off, so
Yeah.
we're gonna try to wrap this up. But thanks to y'all for coming on this show and really like just helping people out. They took it straight, no chaser. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly like how we like to do it here because this is the gray area, and a lot of times people try and shy away from talking about the things that matter the most.
Yeah.
Thanks to y'all for coming out. And what we like to do in this time is do closing remarks, where basically just give people your last, words of advice in regards to resume building or what you need to do
What was
to
that?
get hired, and also what you guys do, because you do a lot of writing as well, for different things. So just let people know how they can reach you,
write
what
a
you
book.
do, and we go from there.
Y'all need to write a book, but go ahead.
I know. I was thinking about I was gonna do a ghost write with somebody about like a book too. That's funny, but no.
You should.
So my Facebook is Whitney Michelle Fagan. I'll share my flyer on the gray areas.
Thank you.
Facebook.
Okay.
I'll share
Absolutely.
the flyer, and then I do, like I said, resume writing, business plans, expungement letters, all types of stuff. I write papers for school. That sounds bad. I do a lot of editing, so
Service.
Good stuff.
people need stuff for like their websites. I do contracts. So, a lot of DJs or random people might need a business contract. So I can do a lot of stuff like that.
Nice.
But you can message me and I'll respond. I usually try to, email you back or respond back quick. Yeah. I think the biggest thing is just everybody just should be doing something. That's what I always say. Everybody needs to be doing something. It's a job for everybody.
Right.
For if there's 90-year-old women greeting people at Walmart, it's a job for you somewhere.
Right.
So and then like I keep saying something about the whole people with backgrounds because it's not an excuse. You can find a job.
Right.
I mean, you did the crime, you did your time, and we don't know if you're guilty. I don't know, but it's a job for everybody. So it's something that can be done. I mean, if you need help, it's a lot of programs right now too that are helping people with felonies and different
Right.
types of
Right.
backgrounds.
Like
So-
Rosie.
like Rosie, yeah. So like I tell people all the time, everybody just needs to be doing something. If you're looking, I mean, you never know. Everybody's always like, the world's coming to an end and all this. I mean, stay woke, look for a job. Do something.
Absolutely.
Like that's a
Absolutely.
big
Work
thing.
until work until it happens.
Until it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
I mean, work.
Right.
I mean, you want to provide. You want to be able to provide, and you don't ever know how long the government assistance and stuff like that is around because people are always like, well, I'm just gonna do this. I mean, just it's something for everybody. Workshops, jobs. If you apply yourself and get a resume, submit your resume. I would like to do. I did one actually a while ago, but I want to do like a free resume class where everybody comes and learns
Right.
and get them a good resume. Do your resume, save it, and put it out there. I mean, there's jobs all over. Like I said, I get 400 jobs or more a week. And that's a lot. And I can't share them all on Facebook.
Right.
But, I mean, I do my best. So just share them. You don't have to friend request me. We don't have to be Facebook friends for you to see the jobs.
Right.
Just apply.
Yeah, there you
Nice,
go. There you
nice.
go. Real quick, a viewer had a question about where do they get the personality test?
You can just Google it.
Myers-Briggs, you can go out there on Google and get that one. There's another one called Intrinsic.
These are free?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
free. I tell people to Google them because some people don't want to do a lot, like take a long time. There's some that I've done that have taken like
quick.
10 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
There's some that take like an hour.
Right.
And then it tells you kind of like what type of degree, what are you doing, what kind of job are you doing right now. So you can Google it, just a personality test.
Okay.
And then it'll tell you exactly what type of job they suggest.
There you go.
I take more than one because
Yeah.
one job might tell me one thing and another might tell you something else.
Okay. There you go. Kirsten?
I don't know. I'm like Whitney. There's no excuse as to why you can't get a job. Point blank period out for me. I've never really been a person to let other people dictate what I can and what I can't do.
Right.
I'm very big on not letting people tell me no. And so I think that if you make the connections, I'm big on networking. Do your homework, network with people.
Yeah.
You never know who you might come in contact with. LinkedIn is my friend. LinkedIn is how I found my last 2 jobs. Just because I had connected with the recruiters, and then when the job opportunities came open, I applied. I reached out to those people, and they kind of helped put me on, and I just kind of took it from there and went with it. So my Facebook, I don't really do a lot with outside of family and friends, but I'm on LinkedIn, so my name is tagged somewhere on the Gray Area Media page.
Yep.
I will connect with you on LinkedIn, but there's nothing out here that you can't do. Just network and go for it. It's really the easiest way to do it.
Right.
Wow, great points. Great
There it
points.
is.
I want to thank y'all, man, for coming here, sharing all this very important information. I learned a lot. I have relatives that need jobs, things like that. So I will most surely share this information, with them. And for anyone that's listening, just know that there's always an opportunity there. You don't have to settle and be stagnant. But
Yeah.
just always look to grow. Always look to aspire to improve and and get better. And there's always a job for someone. So hopefully you will direct them to this video because there's a great deal of information on here. So, but again, I want to thank y'all for coming.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. You always all take the words out of my mouth. So it's all good. Again, we're just grateful for y'all to come out here and do this. Nobody's making money doing this. We just genuinely want to help people, and this is what this is about. And we applaud y'all for what y'all do. I know that y'all see the most, being in in HR. That's where it all goes down.
Man.
But again, like what Patrick was saying, so much informative information in this segment. Just continue to share and let people know. Hit up these women in this on this segment and get in touch with them. If you got any questions about HR or whatever, they can help definitely direct you and get you where you need to go. You want to be in HR? Give them a shout out. Be able to answer some questions that'll get you that job quicker. Other than that, just stay connected to us. And thank you for sharing our feed. Thank you for listening in. Continue to rock with us, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Peace.
Welcome to the Gray Area. The Gray Area Media. We've obligated ourselves to be the voice for all communities, speaking on topics that include community, religion, education, politics, technology, sports, health, and wellness. The Gray Area Media is a platform created by longtime friends for the sole purpose of providing our communities with the ability to voice current, past, and modern-day issues. The Gray Area and its naming significance solely speaks to the area in which people shy away from speaking because of media-based constraints or contractual-based obligations. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't do that here. So please, stay tuned in. We're going to go live in a few minutes. Don't forget, please add us as a friend on Facebook so that you can follow our live feed. And not only that, please add us on Twitter and Instagram at The Gray Area Media. Please visit our website at www.thegrayareamedialive.com. Thank you.